You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Rod Mahood, your in-game voice of the Niagara IceDogs, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your podcast source for all game analysis, team interviews, and up-to-date news regarding the Niagara IceDogs.
Thank you for that glorious intro once again, Mr. Rod Mahood, and welcome IceDog fans to another episode of the Dog Pound Podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your November 24th, 2020 edition, your source of North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the beautiful Niagara region. Find us on social media for updates, giveaways, and sponsorship promo codes each month by following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching the Armchair GMs. As well, follow this show's podcast at Dog Pound Podcast on Twitter. Yes, it has its own Twitter account. Make sure you're checking that out. Listen to us on our main platform, which is Spreaker.com, and the free Spreaker app by searching the Armchair GMs. As well, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Deezer. We're on all those different platforms for you guys. Please smash that like button and give us a subscribe if you're listening to us on any of those platforms. And lastly, our beautiful user-friendly website, ArmchairGMSports.com, for all things regarding our network, including articles, podcast episodes, sponsors, and contributors. Everything's on there for you guys. Please go and check that out. As always, I'm one of your hosts of the Dog Pound Podcast, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Capuch13 with a Canadian Z, and I'm always pleased to be joined on the IceDogs portion of the network by my co-owner of the Armchair GM Sports Network. He is Kyle.
Hey!
You can follow him on Twitter at JustKyle51. Kyle, really fired up to get into our discussion today with IceDogs defenseman Landon Cato. I know it's been long awaited getting him on the show, and shout outs to B-Cat. His dad is a big fan of what we do. So I know he's been looking forward to us getting Landon on the show. Just really looking forward to getting to know Landon a little bit more off the ice.
Yeah, and shout outs to you again, B-Cat. You are a big fan of the show. This is a long time coming, getting L-Cat or whatever nickname we're going to find out from him on this show, and I hope he makes you proud from your family standpoint. I know this is going to be like an awesome interview. I can already tell it's going to be such a good interview.
Yeah.
B-Cat, shout outs to you from me and B-Cap over here.
Yes, I guess I've been donned one of the 1,000 nicknames of B-Cap. So, with that being said, guys, we're going to take any more time. We're going to get right into the interview with IceDogs defenseman Landon Cato. Here it is. Enjoy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another special edition of the Dog Pound Podcast, right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. On today's episode, we are pleased to be joined by another IceDogs player. Today, we're joined by Landon Cato. Landon, Brandon, and Kyle with you here. Great to talk to you. It just felt like it's been forever since the last time we saw you out on the ice, kid, donning the IceDogs jersey.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on. Feels like a long time since we've been there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Listen to every day. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So firstly, we're going to start off here on a lighter note. So just like your teammate, Big Bert, J.Q. Birdie, we interviewed him last week, gave him a glorious new nickname. I came up with some really bad ones for you as well. So either you're going to like them or you're not going to like them. So I want to hear your input on some of these. So we've got, obviously your dad is a big friend of the show here, big fan. His name's B-Cat on Twitter, so obviously L-Cat was one of them. That's pretty lame.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
I've heard that one a couple times.
Let's see, I wrote down Kit Kat, the Cat in the Hat, Landon Bridge, or B-Cat Jr. So I don't know if you like any of those. They're all pretty bad, but those were the ones that I came up with. So I don't know if you're interested in any of those.
Those are pretty original, actually. Those are pretty original.
Are there any?
What's funny about that Kit Kat? Kit Kat, that's actually my favorite chocolate bar. So that's funny you said that.
Beautiful. I guess it was meant to be then.
Yeah. So. Yeah, wow, that's a good one.
I don't know what do the boys call you in the locker room? Like, do you have a nickname in there that's PG rated? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's not really anything special. Landy. Just Kate's. No, it's Kate's actually. Yeah, the funny thing is, actually, my whole minor hockey, not like I don't think on my teams maybe a couple kids knew me by Landon. Like everywhere I went, everyone would just call me Cato and stuff.
I can attest to that.
No one in minor midget would call me that,
Yeah, I can attest to that. My whole life people have called me some sort of nickname to go with my last name. It's either been like Caputo, Capoots, Cappy, like there's about 100 of them. So I've got, we've got that in common there with the last names being more remembered than our first names. So I don't know, whatever you want us to call you going forward in this interview, I don't care. But those are some kind of nicknames I came up with. It might not be as good as Big Bert, but I guess we're not all blessed with a name like that.
Shout outs to B-Cat, man. When B-Cat added us on Twitter, I'm like, that's the best name I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, he loves it. He when he orders food, actually, he tells them that's his name. He embraces it. So
that's his gimmick. I like it. That's like his character. I like it.
It's literally when me and Brandon yelled to him when he came up to our table. We had a table night for one of your games, and he came up to us, and we're like, me and Brandon just yelled, B-Cat.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
So with that said, Kyle, let's move into some of the questions here for Landon. Obviously, after my nonsense question there.
Yeah, this one kind of, not really with your name, but pertains to your jersey number. We read a story last year called "Story Behind the Numbers" article that was posted by a good friend of ours on the IceDogs website. And the number 2 is a family number. You put your brother wore it playing basketball, and your dad grew up wearing it playing sports. Is there any other significance besides those things behind the number 2?
No. Funny story, actually. I don't remember exactly what movie it was, but I remember my brother had just gotten into basketball, and we were going to one of his tournaments, and we were watching some basketball movie with Bow Wow in it and stuff, and he was wearing the number 2, actually. And that weekend I found out that I made the select team for the Scarborough Ice Raiders back home, and they asked me, and 2 was available, so I picked that number. But it kind of worked out that like my dad wore it and my brother wore it, so it was pretty weird.
Well, that's pretty cool though. I think was it Like Mike? Was that the movie?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Like Mike.
I only remember because there's that picture that was floating around of people comparing the 2 kids to Kawhi in the Raptors coach.
Oh yeah.
So what did B-Cat play growing up? Was he a sensation in the sports world? What was he doing?
Yeah, actually he was kind of different. He played a lot of sports. He played hockey for a year. That wasn't really his main one. He played mostly basketball and volleyball. Yeah, believe it or not, but yeah, he was a really good volleyball player. He actually had a couple scholarship offers when he went to St. Mike's, and he played volleyball there. So yeah, he was actually really good at that.
Wow, so I guess he gave you some pretty good genes then, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's gonna.
For that.
Yeah, he's gonna brag about that one. But moving on to my next one here. Oh yeah, I'm sure to let you know every single day. So it kind of segues nicely into my next question here. We hear about so many great hockey stories about players like destroying appliances, doors, basements, etc., practicing around their house. Do you have any hockey stories like that? Great Canadian stories about things that you've destroyed on your parents' property by hockey pucks, and are they expecting you to pick up the tab on these things someday?
Oh, for sure. My parents we've got into it over the years playing hockey, but we had a garage in my net, actually, and we had a light over top of it. It was like pretty high up, but it was just not covered, right? So I'm out there one day just shooting. It was me and my friend, actually, and I take a slap shot. It hits the crossbar, and it hits the light and shatters everywhere. And I just remember I didn't even go inside or anything. I just dropped my stick and I tried running. And I just left my friend standing there. I felt so bad. I was like, oh, boy. And then my parents came out and they got a bit upset about that. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm not a hockey star, but I have my fair share of doing stuff like that. Or like I think one of my stories was taking a slap shot at my brother who I made play goalie, but didn't give him a goalie mask. So that one thing led to another.
Yeah. Your buddy Big Bert there, kind of the same thing as you did last week. Jake Hubert, he said he a puck went through, or a ball, I guess, in the driveway went through his neighbor's car window. So I guess you didn't do that bad. So
no, well, that's funny because my dad, we were playing hockey one day on the street, and he was parked behind the net. And we were using like one of those old plastic orange balls.
Yeah.
And I passed him it, and he just took a one-timer, completely missed the net. and hits the tail light, and it just goes right in the tail light, and it's sitting in it. I'm like, oh boy. And he's laughing. I'm like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah, but if that was you, though, he wouldn't have been laughing. But you know what? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's a nice memento. I think you should just keep the ball in the tail. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty Canadian right there to have like you're playing hockey and have it just sticking in there.
Can you imagine going the repair guy? Like, no, just keep the ball in there.
Yeah, just build around it. Yeah.
Oh man. So my question here: do you remember the moment growing up where you kind of fell in love with hockey? Was it always your first choice in sports, or maybe there was like another sport you enjoyed playing? I know we talked to a lot of other players here on the show, and a lot of players will bring up like lacrosse. I think Pano Fimmins was a big fan of lacrosse growing up as well. And did you ever think about playing maybe, and if it was hockey, another position like forward or goalie?
Yeah. Well, so my brother and me, actually, the first thing we ever did was karate, and I absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it. So I got my parents to take me out of that. And my brother actually ended up finishing it, and he got a black belt at the end of it, so that was pretty cool. But I didn't have the patience for it. So then after that, like all my uncles and stuff played hockey, so my mom's brothers, both of them played hockey. My dad played hockey for a little bit. His cousin played hockey, so it was kind of in the family. And my first year of hockey ever, house league, my mom's brother was my coach as well with my dad. So that was pretty cool. And I think that's kind of what like made me fall in love with it. Just being around the game with them kind of, and them showing me like little things that they used to do, watching games with them. So yeah, I think a big part of it goes out to them.
Okay. And did you ever think about playing goalie or forward, or were you always wanting to just play on the back end there?
No, well, I guess my parents put me in it because I was a bigger kid always. So that's what I always used to play. But I remember one year in house league, we kind of played every other position. Like it wasn't really any set positions. And I remember I scored I think it was 5 goals my first game. It was like my second year of house league. I scored 5 goals. And my parents were like, what's happening here? And I was like no one realized that I could do it. And that year, I played forward for most of it. And I think I was scoring 3 goals a game. It was and I thought it was so big, but at the end it was just house league. But at the time it was big for me. Yeah, so after that season, I told my dad, I was like, maybe I should play forward. But he never let me in. I thank him for not letting me, actually. So,
well, if you want, we could put in a good word with Coach Burke if you'd like. You can tell him that you scored 5 goals in the one house league game.
Yeah,
so
seriously.
Maybe you can.
I tried that already this year, but I don't know.
I guess it didn't work out too well, but you're doing fine on the back end. And goalie, I think. Did you ever consider playing goalie, or that just wasn't your thing at all?
No, that wasn't it. I did it once. I played 1 year of lacrosse house league, and it was you would switch and play goalie every other game or whatever. And I played one game there, and I was like, I'll never do this again. I remember telling myself I'll never do this again. It was atrocious.
Yeah, those goalies are a special breed. You got to be a special person to be a goalie. I'm not one of those either, so.
That is for sure,
yeah. And you were born in Toronto, Landon, or Cates, sorry.
No, actually.
Oh, you weren't born in Toronto.
I was born in... No, I was... Yeah, a lot of people say that.
See, you know what? You can blame me, and you can also blame EliteProspects.com, because they said that you're born in Toronto, Ontario.
I know.
So
I think almost every interview I've been in, they've asked me about Toronto. But
it does say that you have... it does say that you have dual citizenship, though, so I found that interesting.
Yeah, so my dad actually, he was working in the States. My brother was born in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
So he's older than me. Yeah, he was born there. And then my dad moved to Cleveland, Ohio. I was born in Parma, Ohio, which is a couple minutes away from Cleveland. So
okay.
Yeah, that's where I was born. Not a lot of people know that, actually. So
Okay. Yeah. Apologize for that, but all the main sites say the same thing.
Prospects. I'm just gonna.
We need to send them an email and say you got to change Landon Cato's date of birth. It was not Toronto, Ontario.
Yeah.
Which I'm good with that, because my next question is kind of relates to Toronto. So did you spend most of your time growing up in the Toronto area? Like when you were born in the States, but did you move up to the Toronto area and like kind of grow up there?
Yeah, most of my life I've been in Ajax, actually, just outside of Toronto.
Okay.
So yeah, I grew up there. I've been going to school here my whole life. So this is where I grew up, but I was born in the States.
Okay, so that makes sense about the dual citizenship thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, growing up in the Toronto area, is your favorite team unfortunately going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs, or did you kind of rebel with that and go outside the box like myself and go with another team that wasn't the Toronto Maple Leafs? Did you do the right thing, Landon?
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get a lot of hate from my friends in Toronto and stuff, but my favorite team growing up, and probably still now, is Boston.
Oh,
that stings for Toronto fans, yeah. But so growing up, actually, I used to have T-shirts and like socks. I used to have a blanket. Like I'd watch the Stanley Cup game every time they were in. I watched that horrifying game by Toronto when they lost that comeback from Boston. It was.
Landon, you can talk about that all day if you want. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm calling you Kit Kat from now on. Just because of that.
That's good though. Boston though, I like that. I mean, I don't like that personally. I don't like Boston either. I don't like the Leafs either. So I don't like either of those teams. So but I do hate the Leafs more than Boston. So I guess it's the lesser of two evils. I'm okay with you liking Boston, especially in Toronto. You've got a lot of cojones to be able to like the Bruins in that area. That's definitely like public enemy number one in Toronto. So how does that work when you walk around and tell people you're Bruins fans? How does that work?
Me and my teammate actually went to a game once, and I was decked out in Boston gear. I made sure I wore shorts to the game so I could show my socks off. And, I had the jersey on, the Stanley Cup champion hat, everything. I was rocked out. And Boston had won that game, and we were walking to our car, and we see a Leafs fan. I guess he probably drank a couple, but I was just going crazy because Boston won, and he just turns around and just lets me have it. And I'm like, oh boy. And at that point, I rolled down the socks, kind of tucked the hat in. I was like, okay, we're just gonna get out of here now. Yeah, you were public enemy number one that day. Holy cow. Yeah. And I bet you're a taller guy for being so young. I mean, I'm never going to be anywhere close to that tall, and I'm almost 30. So, but I'm sure people thought you were probably older than what you were, and then they realized, hey, we're picking on a kid right now, so maybe we should take it easy. And he'd probably still kick our ass too. Yeah, I think I was 12 there. I'm not even sure. I was pretty young, but the guy, I was so. Yikes. Well, Kyle, you can move on from that, but I got my answer with that. I'm happy.
Yeah, I bet you are. We're gonna stick to another original hockey origin story here. Might have been asked so many times, but is there a certain player that you looked up to growing up that kind of you wanted to mold your game after? And if so, do you own anything interesting from that type of player, like a hockey jersey, hockey card, something that's not your own?
Yeah, I think when I was a lot younger, watching hockey and watching Boston, obviously, Zdeno Chara was always my favorite, just because me being a bigger guy, I felt like that was kind of me to my teammates in the league when I was younger. So I would always watch him, and I had a Winter Classic Boston jersey with his number and his name and the captain on it. I used to wear it every single time on the pond. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Okay, so the Zdeno Chara, I guess you got big shoes to fill if you want to, get into the.
Yeah, you say that
really
again.
big, I guess. Yeah.
Literally, I know you're tall, but I don't think you're that tall yet. I don't know if you're going to get to that point.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
I hope.
You've got a shot.
All we can do is wish, right?
Yeah, absolutely. During your time in quarantine, which I'm sure seems like forever since you've been off the ice, without getting some flack from your teammates, other than training, what else has been a favorite pastime of yours in the last 8 months during quarantine? Maybe a little gaming. I know your buddy Big Bert last week said he was doing a lot of yoga and stretching, which you've kind of called him out on and said that he's, you don't really believe that. So, what have you been doing these last 8 months or so of in quarantine? What have been some of Landon Cato's favorite activities?
Yeah, well, first I want to go on that yoga topic. I don't know this year. I don't know. You can ask some of my teammates from last year, but I don't remember ever seeing Jake Huberti being a big stretch guy. But I mean, if he's into it now, good for him. Like, I love the kid. So, but I mean, I was kind of laughed when I heard that. But he's a professional, so I wouldn't doubt him getting into yoga now, but I don't remember it last year, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so, during quarantine, actually, I was big on NHL, so I remember this season, actually, Mason Howard got me on that, because we would room together, and he's a big NHL guy. I think he's playing today, actually, for that OHL tournament. Yep. Yeah, so he's a big NHL guy, and he'd always bring it on the road. So, he beat me pretty badly, but I think it helped me in the long run because now I'm looking pretty good.
Nice. You've had a lot of time to practice, I guess. Yeah. Do you, on the game, do you ever go in and play as the dog so that you can at least play as yourself?
Yeah, actually, I've been doing that a lot. I really like doing that.
Oh, you got to tell us who...
Especially when
go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead.
I match myself up with guys that I like playing with, like Mason Howard, and I'll play with him. He just absolutely destroys guys on that game.
Does he block as many shots, too, as he does in real life, or what?
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess I can use him well, but he blocks a lot for me. It looks like he's playing football out there. When I play with him, so. I was
my last question about that was, you were talking about playing forward. Do you ever put yourself on the top line and maybe you can show Billy Burke what you're doing with Cam Butler and Big Bert up there on the top first line left wing there. Yeah. Maybe you can show him some of your stats that you've gotten on that game.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that actually. But what I do is anytime I touch the puck, I never pass it. Anytime I figure out the puck, it's just always end to end. If I don't get the goal, we just switch it up and we try next shift. So
yeah, I'm glad you can try that in the video game because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be playing too much if you would do that in a real game.
I'm trying to get it all out of my system now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're going to take our first commercial break on the show today. We're going to come back with more of our player interview with Landon Cato of the Niagara IceDogs. So stay with us. We'll be right back on the Dog Pound podcast and right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network.
Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving traditional-style Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and their famous chicken wings. Winners of the Reader's Choice Diamond Award 4 years running from Niagara this week for Best Pizza and Wings in Niagara Falls. Home of the best tray and wing combo in town for the price and quality. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery at 905-374-4400. Make sure to like them on Facebook and view their website for their menu at carmine'spizzeria.ca. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Way too good. As we all adjust to this new world that we're living in today, masks are now mandatory, and Niagara's own Custom PPE is Canada's leading face mask provider. Visit them online at customppe.ca and choose between several mask options with different colors and sizes. Add your organization, company, or team logo so you make your face masks unique. Available to purchase online 24/7 at customppe.ca and shipped within 1 week. They have the best prices and quickest turnaround in Canada, and no order is too big or too small. Also offering custom floor stickers as well as face and counter shields for your business or workplace. Visit customppe.ca and use the code ARMCHAIR at checkout for 20% off your custom or blank face mask today. Custom PPE, Canada's leading face mask provider. Attention job seekers, if you are currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls, directly across from the Camisos Plaza. Their free services include resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and all their services are currently provided by appointment only. So give them a call at 905-358-0021 or visit their website at ehc.on.ca, the Niagara Employment Help Center. This Employment Ontario program is funded by the Government of Ontario.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dog Pound Podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. On today's episode, we are joined by Landon Cato of the Niagara IceDogs, continuing with our interview here. And Kyle, take it away.
Yeah. So Landon, obviously the end of the last season was definitely a learning curve for you guys after trading away the core pieces like Akil Thomas, Phil Tomasino, Keen Sopa, as well as losing Ivan Lodnia, Oliver Castleman, and Elijah Roberts on the back end, who have now finished their OHL careers. How was the whole experience for you in that second half of the season after the trade deadline? Because you obviously were asked and relied upon to take a bigger role with the team. Did you welcome that challenge to elevate your game at all and learn to take like a more of like a top role on the team?
Yeah, for sure. I think I have to give credit for sure to those guys who we traded away, like Akil, Sopa, Druzy, all those guys. They played huge roles in my rookie year, and I can't thank those guys enough for all that. Everyone on that team, the way Niagara is, we're all like a family, and the Burks really enforced that. So it's a great atmosphere there. I think those guys really set all the rookies and all the players up for success in the future. I think just the way they handled themselves at the rink, on the ice and off the ice, translated into everyone else. I think just everyone has picked up so much from those guys, and I think just the atmosphere even next year is just going to be so much better now that all the younger guys are able to teach other guys, and I think it's just going to be passed on for a while. And so I think that's really what's helped us a lot. But in the second half of that season, I think I was prepared at that point to take on the role that they gave me because of those guys, and I think that's what really helped me out.
Do you think that, obviously with what happened last year, it definitely was some growing pains. Do you see yourself taking a bigger role on the D-Corps this year, elevating yourself? Are you kind of setting goals for yourself to, make the top two pairs, or are you just kind of going into it thinking wherever they put me, I'm just going to go there and do my best wherever they kind of slot me in?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think learning from my rookie season just how much, like, if you spend more time on your game than anything else, like, you'll get rewarded. Like, and I think that I learned that more so at the end of the year, where I was just in the gym constantly. And then it's translated to this summer, actually. I'm working out with Josh Fontana here in Ajax. I've been working out with him for 4 years now, and from what I was when I first went to him to what I am now, I think is crazy. So he's done amazing work, and on the ice I'm with Josh Roble, Big Bird actually. He skates with him as well. So he has some good guys, and he's able to. So I think this year I think I for sure, if I play my game and I do what I can do and what I know I can do, I think for sure I can make the top 2D pair at least.
Okay, yeah, and Big Bird, he was taking credit. Yeah. He was taking a lot of credit for reaching out to all the guys, which kind of goes into my next question here. Obviously, it was a really exciting draft for the IceDogs. Some really exciting young talent coming in the organization. Pano Fimis, Daniil Gushin, Alec Leonard, Bryce Cook, to name a few. Have you had a chance to reach out to any of these guys and kind of welcome them to the organization and to the team?
Yeah, I think draft day I tested almost all of them. But I know I've skated in I played a couple games with all those guys, actually. And actually I was playing against Pano Fimis the other weekend, so that was pretty fun. They're all great kids, yeah.
Awesome.
Unreal talent, just unreal talent. So I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Because you have to outshine your buddy Big Burt, because he said he was bragging last week that he had reached out to every single player and he had almost skated with almost all of them. So, I mean, he's trying to take a leadership role on the team there, Landon. I don't know if you got to try and outdo him.
It's the Big Burt mentality.
No, yeah. Yeah, he's a pro, so he knows what he's doing. He's a pro.
That yoga stretching,
that's all I
we don't
really say about him.
Yeah, we don't know about that yoga stretch and stuff. We're gonna have to kind of follow up on that one, but I'm glad you were able to bring that to our attention.
And speaking of like the ice and stuff, how excited and eager are you and your team, as I guess, to get back on the ice to prove the way the last season ended won't define this group for the future going forward, as you will hopefully take the next step forward together, getting back in grinding back up those Eastern Conference standings. Great young core of players here now. So without giving any specific names, have you thought to yourself about line possibilities, maybe playing with some of these talent, or maybe someone that's kind of returned, that's coming back with the team, especially on your D-core that looks pretty intact right now?
Yeah, well, I think last year our D-core was really young with all the rookies that we had on the back end, and now I look at them going into their second year and what they were able to do last year, and now what they're going to be able to do this year is just I can't wait to see what it's going to be. And I'm so comfortable to look over and know that either any guy that I have beside me is going to do what they do best. Sure. And I'm very confident in my team. I think that's one thing that this year is going to be a lot of. We're going to be a very deep team. I think everyone on our team can play, and I think we're going to be able to hold up some other teams and show them, like, hey, we're not the same team as last year. We have some hungry guys here that are ready to show you guys what we're about.
Yeah, we seen a lot from you this year. I think I actually remember one game we were in the box. We watched you drop the mitts. So you guys gotta get back to that pesky dogs mentality that you guys used to be known for. And I think you guys definitely have the core group to do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're not gonna let anyone walk over us. That's for sure.
Maybe you should have went into the karate a little bit more, Landon. Maybe you would have been able to use that in some of your tillies on the ice last season.
Yeah, my brother actually, he's the one who gets that part out of me, because he was the one who started fighting me. Me and him used to go at it, no matter what it was. Like, we were competitive, and he'd always beat me up. He'd always have the upper hand on me, but I remember sometimes it would get bad, like, end up just like, I remember one time, I think it was my birthday actually, maybe not, we were wrestling or something, but I remember my tooth like went through my lip, and It was me and him just they got bad sometimes, but at the end of the day we were always fighting, and then that night we'd be downstairs playing video games against each other again, going at it. So
oh man, I'm sure
I think he gets that competitive side.
I'm sure your dad loved that. I'm sure B-Cat just loved you guys fighting all the time.
Yeah.
You were drafted, Landon, in 2019, the third round, 46th overall by the IceDogs. Do you remember that day like it was yesterday, and was there something that stuck out to you that you'll never forget from that day?
Yeah, I learned so much from that day, I feel. Well, I remember in the morning, I woke up at like 5:30 because I could not sleep. I was so jacked up. Yeah. And my dad usually wakes up around that time. He wakes up pretty early. So I remember he was up, and me and him went for a drive, and we got like Tim Hortons and just tried to calm the mood down, because we knew it was such a big day and he didn't want me stressing and stuff. So, but I remember we had, it was just me, my family, and my grandpa upstairs in the room watching the TV, and I remember getting called by Niagara, and I just couldn't believe that it was finally here. Like, all the work that I put into was finally got me this, right? So,
right.
Because I remember I played 2 years of AAA, I think. Yeah, 2 years of AAA, and then I got drafted. I was playing AA most of my life. So, like, I've kind of been the underdog in most situations in my life. And just to be able to get drafted and be able to sign an OHL contract is such a dream come true. And it's something that I have dreamed about since I was young, watching the Oshawa Generals here and stuff like that. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously this year being a different year with the pandemic and everything, were you disappointed for the players drafted in this year's draft and the 2020 draft for not being able to have like the same type of experience that maybe you had to, or you were able to experience, getting to go down to the rink and, introduce yourself to the organization and the whole community? Just, how different do you think that was for the guys this year, and how much do you feel for them?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I mean, that was a big part. That was really welcoming. I think I know a couple of the guys have actually been down for visits. Probably haven't seen or been through as much as we did on our draft day. But, yeah, I think they're going to still get it. I mean, when the season starts, I mean, the fans are in Niagara, like, there's nothing, you don't have to talk about them. Everyone knows. So I think when the rookies come in, I think they'll get their love and they'll see the fans. It doesn't take long when you come to Niagara to know how much our fans love us. So.
Yeah, like sorry, Kyle, did you get like a tour there? I know we see like last year they welcome certain draftees and things like that, or prospects to the Meridian Center. Did you ever get to go to a game in Niagara before you were drafted and before you started playing for the IceDogs to see kind of what it was like?
Yeah, I went to a playoff game actually against Oshawa. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, it was. I think they lost 4-1 or something. So. Wasn't the best, but it was a playoff game, and the atmosphere was unreal. I remember going on the bench for their warm up, and I just looked up and like I was like in shock. I didn't know what to do. I was just standing there like stargazing. It was crazy.
Yeah. I remember before we even started this network, myself and Brandon, we were like hardcore IceDog fans. It's probably one of the reasons why we started doing this. We went to like so many playoff games, and I can't even describe like. Me and Brandon have done the gold medal game for the World Juniors, and I think the IceDogs playoff atmosphere literally matches a gold medal game in the World Juniors. So it's pretty incredible.
Well, I wasn't able to experience it this year due to the season ending, but being able to see it that year and how big that team was that year just shows me what those fans are able to do and what they basically pretty well do every night almost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you guys were in the dog days. I mean, this past season, they were still getting close to 5,000 fans, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember that game against Windsor. We won, I think, overtime, was it?
Yeah.
We were in like a drought, and then we won in overtime, and the fans. It was a packed house. The fans were going crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can always rely on them
for sure.
When you were coming into the league. Like for your first year, which was the 2019-2020 year, was there a certain player on the team that kind of really helped you make that transition into the OHL a successful one? And I'm sure when you were just coming into the league, it can be pretty nerve-wracking. So is there anybody that had that influence on you? I know you were also committed to playing for UMass. Just talk about a little bit of how did that opportunity come up, and as well as who was that player that kind of helped you along the way?
Yeah, well, that player is probably Akil Thomas. I don't know if many people know. So my Uncle Jason is his godfather, so we're very close family friends. Yeah. So before I even came to the Dogs, I was over at their house, and we were talking, and he was kind of just telling me how it is down there and, like, kind of giving me, like, the ins and outs of it. But even right when I got to camp, like, he was texting me every day, making sure I'm good and all this stuff. Even now,
that's awesome.
He texts me, FaceTimes me and stuff. He'll make sure that I'm doing well, stuff like that. So
that's sweet.
Yeah, he's been a huge part.
Yeah, he's a good kid. We interviewed him a couple of times, like at the rink, and the guy's so humble. So that's awesome to hear. Yeah,
and the UMass situation. So I was actually that comes from my dual citizenship. So I was. 2 summers ago, I was at the US NTDP camp.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but
I
know. So before the OHL draft, I went through all that process. I think I went to 4 camps and then eventually made it to the final of the US NTDP. And that's kind of where I was headed. My parents have always been big on school and finishing school and stuff, so we did look at that option. We went to visit UMass, and we liked what we saw. But, yeah, it just didn't end up working out. I thought maybe this was a better option for me. Me and my family talked about it. So, yeah, and I don't have any regrets. I'm actually pleased that I made the decision. I love playing here and love what I'm doing now. So,
That can always be very difficult for somebody trying to choose between, the CHL and playing university hockey. I mean, they're kind of two different styles, but it's hard because there's two good leagues there, and it's kind of hard to choose sometimes, especially if schooling is something that you're passionate about or your family really wants you to pursue, obviously with university or college. So I'm sure that that played into the decision as well.
Right, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And obviously last year being your first in the OHL, how did you feel that you grew throughout the season? And just how much do you think, we talked about this earlier, how much of a bigger step you could take into your second year? What was the transition like from the GTHL to the OHL? And kind of how long did it take you to transition and really get the hang of the OHL?
Yeah, well, Niagara was very generous with my playing time last year. Like, being such a young team and a team like that, they gave me the chances to make mistakes and fix them myself and figure out what I was doing wrong. And they were always doing video with me and always showing me things that to improve in my game, right? So I think they're probably the biggest help in that. But yeah, no, playing wise, I think just the speed in how you think the game. I never realized, I think it was my first practice. I was playing a one-on-one on Kean Sopa, I'm pretty sure, and he just made some move around me, and I'm like, I didn't even know, like he told me what he did, and I didn't know how to stop it until Jody Hall came up and talked to me and told me about it. So I was like, okay, it's like there's little things there that you learn from guys who have played and like coaches and stuff, just little tips to make the game so much easier. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you only, I hate to bring it up, but you only had 2 points last year. You must obviously think that you can improve on those numbers. Just how much more do you think you can bring to this team offensively? And are you kind of setting some personal totals for yourself this year in that regard, while also trying to kind of have a complete round out your complete game as well, not just with your points?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm working right now on the ice with Josh Roble. And one of the biggest things that we're working on right now is just getting pucks on net from the blue line, right? So I think that was probably, in my game, if I have to say, that was one of my biggest problems, was some of the shots from the point were getting blocked and stuff, and I couldn't get them through. So I'm very confident in that now. My whole game, I think I'm very confident in. I went from minor midget. I used to score a lot, actually. I had a lot of points. So I think it's in me to do it, and I think I'll be able to. Once I get my footing and I get comfortable and stuff, I think this year I'll be able to put up some points on the sheet. So.
For sure. And it's maybe those nights playing Shell on the video game or moving yourself up to the first line forward there might help. I don't know, but I definitely obviously the first year trying to get your feet wet, I'm sure it wasn't easy to kind of make that transition. So hopefully next season we'll definitely see that point total rise, and we'll if we have no contact, which we'll get into after, I'm sure that would also help as well. But Kyle, continue.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, transitioning from Shell to OHL makes sense. But I guess we got to talk about this. It comes up now, especially with how the world is with this current global pandemic and sports. It's a continuing trending topic when it comes to the sports talk. So we got a two-parter here for you. Brandon will read the second part. So what are your thoughts on how this 2020-2021 season has been so delayed? Like, it's gone from September to October to December and now postponed once again to February. Has it been tough for you trying to prepare physically and mentally for this season, and that being continually be changing with the unknown waves that are going on through this pandemic?
Yeah, it is tough, actually. But I feel we're athletes, so we train our bodies accordingly, right? So we can, like, what my gym's doing is we took 2 weeks off, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2 weeks, and then got back into it. So we let our bodies rest, and we're just kind of working smart right now, just based on the season, when to ramp things up, stuff like that. But so I think playing hockey comes with its challenges, and I think this is just another challenge that guys are going to have to get through, and I think we can. I don't think this would be too hard for anyone else to wait a couple more months. I think training, just get ready. Like, we're hockey players. Like, we go through stuff like this all the time. So
yeah, I see a lot of videos at the IceDogs. I guess Jordan posts a lot of you guys like training and stuff. So you guys are obviously keeping up to shape and in game shape. So that's also good to see.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I haven't seen those Jake Uberti stretching videos. So.
Yeah, I mean, might want to ask him about that.
Yeah, when are we gonna get Big Bert Yoga DVD? When's that coming out? I want to know when we're gonna get that. But last question for you here, Landon. I know we kept you a long time here, but the elephant in the room here is, if we do get a season in February, what does the idea of no body contact sound to you? Does it concern you at all how the game might be played and officiated differently, and just your general thoughts on how this might affect your game personally?
Well, my game's kind of a big hitting, physical, puck moving. So, I mean, it will take a hit to my game. I don't think that it will affect me in a bad way. I think it's just going to make me have to learn different things and just correct my game, tweak my little things that I need to work on, stuff like that. But I think I'd be able to do it. Like, I believe that I have the skill to play with any of these players, and it's not just my size that's doing it for me, right? So I think I'll be okay. I don't know how good this would be if there's no hitting, but I mean, if it's what it has to, if it's what has to happen, then to play hockey, then so be it.
Yeah, I guess it'll be like playing no body contact hockey, like Sunday night shinny, but obviously on a higher level. You know, not with guys that are out of shape and past their primes. You know, you guys are all in great physical shape and, you know, trying to make it into the next level of hockey. So I'm sure it'll definitely be more exciting than going to watch, you know, my buddy Kyle over here play a Sunday night beer league hockey, which I do on occasion just because I'm so bored and need something to watch hockey.
So exciting!
Oh yeah, Kyle's definitely got top 6 potential in beer league, I'll tell you that. But
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, maybe BCat can get out there on the ice one day. We can see what he's got too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
join my team, we're always welcoming new players.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe he can join the taxi squad if, you know, things happen and, you know, you have to call guys up.
I see you guys get him out. Yeah, I see you guys get him out there.
Awesome. Well, Landon, thanks so much for taking the time and coming on and talk with us today. Hope you're able to give our listeners and the Dogs fans a little bit more insight to another one of our beloved IceDog players. This has been awesome, giving us so much of your time. Really good insight, really interesting, getting to know you a little bit more off the ice. And I hope you made your dad proud. I know he was wanting you to, you know, come in here and really take it seriously. But with us, you know, you gotta be more laid back and you know, kind of enjoy it more. That's really what we're going for on this show. So really looking forward to exciting things from the group in the upcoming season, whenever it gets started, hopefully in February. So hope to see you and the guys down in the Beridian Center sometime in February. And thanks so much for this, Landon, or Kate's, as we came up with your nickname there, or Kit Kat, as Kyle said there.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. The Bruins thing.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. It was a great show. Hopefully, I have you back on some other time and get to talk to you down at the rink if we're able to do that. I don't know what's going on with rules and stuff like that, but again, we'll definitely be in touch and you know, like, give your dad our best wishes for us. He's a big fan of the show, and we always appreciate him and your family's enthusiasm for what we do. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate what you guys do. Love the show. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, guys, there you have it. Landon Cato of the Niagara IceDogs. Kyle, great interview. Gave us so much great insight and so much of his time. That was definitely one of the most exciting interviews we've had. And I guess his buddy there, Big Bert, has to step it up the next time he comes on the show.
Yep. I want to see some Big Bert yoga. That's got to be like a weekly feature on the IceDogs Twitter or their website. We need Big Bert in his basement, whatever it is, showing us these crazy yoga moves that he supposedly does. So, Big Bert, we're calling you out, buddy.
Yeah, Kate's, or Kit Kat, as we gave him the nickname on the show today, he was kind of, he wasn't, I don't think he was buying what Big Bert was selling with those yoga videos, at least from last year, saying he doesn't remember Big Bert doing much of that last year. So I guess he's got to prove himself there. But as far as Landon goes, he was saying to us before the show that his dad was kind of putting some pressure on him to take it seriously in that, and I think you did a great job. Obviously, on our show, it's a little bit more laid back, but I hope he did you proud there, BCAT. Landon did a great job, and definitely one of our most exciting interviews to do so far.
Okay, yeah, it was definitely great. I know BCAT. I know he made him proud. That was so well done, and again, thank you to your whole family. You guys been supporting us since day one here, and we hope to see you again, obviously, when things get back to normal and we can have another friendly chat like we did that one day at the IceDogs rink. So good luck to you guys, and good luck to Landon in his future. I know this guy has the potential to make the NHL and sure to be such a great defenseman to whoever drafts him.
Yeah, for sure. So it's hopefully we'll get more interviews like this, but until February, we're gonna have to fill the spot here, Kyle. So looks like we might be making our rounds around the IceDogs locker room and getting their thoughts on things.
I'm thinking Tucky next, man. We got to get Tucker Tyne. I think that's a long time coming too. That's gonna be a big one, I think, for us or someone else.
Yeah, I think we got to do a goalie at some point. We got to give some love to a goalie. I know they're different kinds of cats, and they're not the most insightful, but maybe we got to somehow get a goalie on here. But with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Dog Pound Podcast and our interview with IceDogs defenseman Landon Cato right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Your source of North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the beautiful Niagara region. As always, I'm one of your hosts of the Dog Pound Podcast, Cap. You can follow me on Twitter at Caputs13 of the Canadian Zed. As well, you can follow my co-host Kyle at JustKyle51. A big thank you to all of our great sponsors who help put us on, support the network, keeping the show on the air. Make sure you're checking them out and telling them the Armchair GM sent you. Make sure you're supporting local businesses at this time. They really need your support. And a big thank you to all of you great IceDog fans for listening along with us for this episode. Hopefully you guys got a lot of enjoyment out of Landon's insight and his answers. And this, again, has been the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network by sports fans for sports fans. Go Dogs, go. Bark, bark, bark. We'll see you guys next episode.